All right. It is Winning Women's Wednesday at Studio USA. It is 9-ish, and I'm Rick, and we are live, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Michelle Ozimi. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And as everyone can see, we have a full house, a full panel. So, Michelle, I will let you do the honors.
Awesome. I am so excited. We have with us today Christina O'Malley and her sister, Katie. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
These ladies have done some incredible work, not only in mental health, but also with youth soccer. So we have a lot to talk about today.
We do. Yep.
Super excited to have you guys with us. And we just found out that we were going to get Katie last night, so that's super fun too. Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was. It was definitely a shock, but I'm excited.
It's typical.
Okay, so between the two of you, who's the youngest?
I am.
Okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I'm 2 years younger than Katie, so we were always 2 grades.
That's funny.
apart. Yeah.
That's funny. So who's in charge?
Depends on what we're talking about.
Okay, okay.
Oh.
Interesting. Rick, do you have siblings?
Yes, I have a sister. She's 6 years younger than me.
Okay.
Okay.
So who's in charge there?
I'm just going to go with the elder. Although she is I'm the workaholic bachelor guy.
Okay.
And she is very much the polar opposite of me.
Okay.
Where she's a school nurse for Keller ISD, and she's been married for a bazillion years, and family, the whole 9 yards, and I'm not. And so
you're the super cool uncle then.
I get to be I used to be the crazy uncle.
Okay,
And now at
okay.
19 and a half years sober, I'm the cool uncle, or the
cool
relatively cool uncle.
Okay.
The certainly far more stable uncle than I used to be.
That's awesome. So ladies, gosh, we have so much to talk about. Let's start with soccer. Did you guys grow up playing soccer?
We did. Yeah, I grew up playing for FC Dallas, and yeah, soccer has always been in our life. We played forever growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up, in Frisco, so we played within
Okay.
the North Texas select soccer community, and we see a bunch of those coaches out there still today.
Crazy.
It is.
So then you jumped into coaching.
Yes, I started coaching about almost 3 years ago. This summer, 3 years. And I started in the summer, and I called Katie and was like, "You got to come out here. You got to do it."
That's awesome.
It's also because I was nervous too, though.
Yeah. So she called me to come out, and then I think I went to 1 or 2 practices, and then I looked at her and I said, "Hey, this is my thing. I'm going to dive into this and really go for it because it's so much fun."
So how many female coaches do you see?
Well, to get this job at FC Dallas, that's who we coach for, I called my old coach, Kat Webb, and I called her and was like, "Hey, can I go to one of your practices? Can I help with boot camp, anything?" And then she was like, "I got a team for you." So Kat is my coach, yeah. So she's there. There's many, right?
Yeah, definitely more women coaching than we saw growing up, for sure.
sure.
There's still not enough, in my opinion. But
And that was my next question. With growing up with male soccer coaches, what do you see that you're doing differently to help the kids along? That face says a lot.
Remembering that it's not about winning, it's not about how I feel. It's about what these kids are absorbing and learning and building on.
yeah.
I think I just have had some with bad tempers. Is that how I put it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we're
Volatile?
doing different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that could be.
That would
used.
probably be my coaching style if I were just to just because I would probably feel like a total fraud, and so that would probably come out sideways as being like a little bit testy.
Right.
But what's funny is, so my niece, we were talking earlier before we went live, my niece was actually club volleyball, and my sister was just consumed by it, where everything became volleyball. But now she's actually at a private Christian school. She's a coach, and I want to say, it's her actual job, and I want to say it's 2 years in a row that they were undefeated.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so having seen, I assume that it's analogous as far as soccer and volleyball, where it's like the girls' world, and then they're totally absorbed by it, and then there's a bunch of idiot dudes running around. And now, do y'all do the? I went to something that was, I want to say, at the convention center, and obviously it was indoor volleyball, but it was just like, I don't know, 150,000 square feet of just volleyball. And it was just like deafening. And I was like, I can't handle this.
Sounds like my Saturdays, to be honest.
So is that, so like, are y'all out there in those public fields?
Yep.
Okay.
We are at Toyota Stadium is where we practice.
Nice.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yes. It's where I practiced growing up, too, for FC Dallas. Yeah, so it's cool to be back in that same
That's very
same
cool.
spot.
Yeah,
So-
I still get caught calling it Pizza Hut Park.
Oh, wow.
And,
Wow.
Parents
Showing
are
your
always
age
like,
there. What?
What are you talking about? I'm like,
For all my old people out there, Starplex, yo, what up?
Yes, Starplex. Oh my goodness. So you mentioned that some of the same coaches that you worked with as children are still out there coaching. How do they receive you as coaches now?
most of the time they're pretty excited. Some
Yeah,
of them are kind of shocked when
Okay.
they see us out there.
Why?
I ran into, to be honest, I'm not really sure. Maybe because towards the end of like my high school playing, I was very defiant to who I had been my whole life and wasn't really that dedicated to the sport. And so
Understood.
for me to now become a coach and just like dive in like full force was not something that was necessarily along my path originally.
Interesting.
And so seeing some of them, they're like, whoa, like this is wild to see you here. But then there's other coaches that are like, well, yeah, of course you're out here coaching. Like, what else would you be doing? And I'm
That's
like,
fantastic.
oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's crazy to see people out there that you used to see when you were 10, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I used to practice next to you. Hey, it's
Now we're
wild.
colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah, I never was going to be a coach. Like, I never was going to play. How you're talking about volleyball, I mean, it was soccer, right? And I wanted to, like, do all the things. So I was very... Sorry about the mic.
You're learning.
no,
You're
that's fine.
learning.
Oh, no,
I
that's
just
fine.
realized when I lean in, I notice it. My bad. Okay.
No worries.
Sorry, guys.
We're very
Sorry,
freewheeling.
everyone. Where was I?
Oh, that you were totally consumed.
Yeah, it was soccer all the time. So I was never going to play in college. Also, Katie was always really good. Me too, right? But Katie's, it's just different. She's my older sister. She played soccer, so I played soccer too. And I loved it. And it took, but we had a different love for it.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's why it's just interesting that I just called my coach on a whim after one of my friends was out of town for they played kickball with a bunch of people, right? Like a
Okay.
team.
Hey, it's a
And
thing now.
It is. And they were out of town, so they needed a sub. And they're like, Christina like played soccer. So I went and did it, and then I was like, high on these endorphins. So I called my coach like right then and was like, can I be at boot camp? Can I go to soccer practice? I need this in my life again.
Love it. Love it. It's funny how life kind of comes full circle.
Oh,
the
yeah.
things you thought you would never do again, and here you are. Yeah. Love
Circle
that.
of life. I see it everywhere. Yeah.
So you mentioned becoming defiant in high school. I know that you guys experienced a trauma in high school during your younger years that led you into the nonprofit that you guys work with. Who wants to tell us about that a little bit?
Katie, you start it and then I'll take it.
Okay. Well, so my high school defiance was from our parents' divorce trauma. So that was when I was about 14, 15. And then soccer was my outlet for that. And I would just get out there on the field and I'd play and I would, I'd feel better. I'd process everything around me. And then my freshman year of high school, the January of my freshman year, I completely tore my MCL in half. Just completely tore it in half in a game. And so the recovery time at the time for something like that was 6 to 8 months to fully recover. So that's when I kind of lost that
The
drive
Yeah.
in there because then I was dealing with my mom moving out and, I didn't have that outlet anymore. And
Sure.
so that was kind of when that was the beginning point for the defiance within soccer. And then after high school, when I was 19, our dad died by suicide.
Right. So I had just graduated from high school. I was 17. I was 17 and I lived in Oklahoma. I just started at OU. It was
OU. That's where my daughter graduated from.
Oh, nice.
Boomer Sooner.
Yes. How long was I there? I was there for not even 2 months, and then I had to go back because our dad had died. Ironically, coincidentally, Katie's soccer coach told me on the phone about it because that's who she called that
was
day. She
my
called her
first.
coach.
It was the one coach I had that wasn't traumatizing to me growing up.
Nice.
And he was my first phone call that day after,
Wow.
obviously, the police. But
And where did A Light in Dark Places come from out of that?
So I don't even know if we said it actually, but our dad died by suicide. And our sister, Kelly Rose, she's our oldest sister. So there's 4 of us. There's Kelly, Katie, Chris, me, and there's Courtney. Courtney's 5 years younger than me. Kelly's 5 years older. Kelly started the nonprofit in 2016 when we lived in California. We lived in Burbank together, and she just wanted to create, a community where we can talk about what happened, because it's so scary to tell people. Or what we found is we would always say sorry. Like, sorry, I'm telling you this because you just asked me about my life and I'm telling you this, but sorry, it's a lot.
I totally get that.
Like,
yeah.
my bad.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we know we shouldn't be like that, right?
Right.
So,
we also grew up, our dad's family is Catholic, and they have a very strong view on suicide. And so it was hard to talk to really any of his family about it without being kind of like hushed or something. So she wanted to
definitely-
create something that allowed that space
That's
in a
awesome.
safe way, and not something that could be shut down because it was irresponsible or anything in that way.
right. So she went to this school, Stella Adler acting school in Hollywood.
That's awesome.
And I actually was at the makeup school a block away called Elegance International for makeup, like special effects makeup.
So cool.
What?
And
That is fun stuff right there.
Right? It was a good time. So yeah, we worked together a lot in that way. She wanted to start this, and what she does is she has people submit plays. She picks 5 short plays, and together she puts about 60-minute show, and they all show different people, different stories, different ways that mental health can be talked about, or how we can take care of each other, or how it affects us.
That's incredible.
And then we hold a reception afterwards. And that's where I came into play the first year. I did the lights and the notes and the, hope, because we don't want to be like, here's this information, goodbye, like, see you.
Yeah, go deal with it, process it yourself.
Right. So we then provide like a space where we just, are there to talk, and everyone kind of gathers, and that's
how
what it is.
How often do you put the shows on?
So in Los Angeles, she has it every year, and it's the bookend weekends of Suicide Awareness Week, which is, I believe it's mid-September, like September,
Okay.
forget exactly, because I got a few birthdays in that time too.
Sure.
Same.
Yeah.
And then
Me. my
Nice.
birthday's in there.
Sweet. In 2019, after we did it for 3 years in California, we brought it to Dallas, and we had it at the Addison Water Tower Theater.
Amazing.
Very
And
cool
it was
place.
awesome. It was great. It was like, look what we've done, and we're bringing it home. And then in it's 24.
In 2020, I'm sure it
2022.
shut down.
Right, for
Yeah,
sure,
for
for sure.
2020,
Y'all already know that,
2021.
right? In 2020, pause. In 2022, we brought it to the Bathhouse Cultural Center, and that's where we continue to have it. This will be our 3rd show there.
Awesome. And when's the next show?
It is on Friday. That's our opening night at
This
8
Friday?
p.m.
Awesome. Are there still tickets?
There are, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, you can get tickets.
Amazing.
Tickets online. You can look at Instagram too. It's the nonprofit. Oh my goodness, have we said it yet?
No.
My voice left for dramatic effect to then now come and say it. The nonprofit is called A Light in Dark Places, and it's a collection of plays for hope.
That is incredible. Incredible.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it.
What is your role in the show this year?
I am a co-producer, so I help with auditions and casting. And
So is it local talent?
Yes, all Dallas actors.
Oh, that's so fun.
My sister Kelly will be acting in it, and her boyfriend Devin flew in from California too to be in it.
So cool.
But other than that, it's all Dallas actors. It's all in Dallas, and yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
And how about you? What's your role?
I'm there for moral support.
Okay.
I am. I told my sister Kelly that if people are acting out, to just give me a call and I'll put my coach hat on and I'll come in there and I'll start coaching everything and make sure everything looks good. But this year, we had a lot of different things that happened in the last few months at work. So I just don't have the time or the energy right now to be fully a part of it. But in the past, I've done the reception with Chris and I've helped.
And you're on the board.
That way. Yes, and I'm on the board of the
Awesome.
nonprofit. So I get to help in other ways.
How has this helped you guys heal?
I mean, it made me look at it, because, I mean, before we started it, we were in the same boat, of we don't know how to talk about this, and this is really scary, and all of it is overwhelming. So I think it really opened it up for us, and even within our family, to start to communicate whether it went well right away or not.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How has the audience described their experience?
How have they described their experience? They find it hopeful and uplifting.
Good.
Yeah. So it does seem daunting, the topic and the stories. And I mean, there is sadness to it, of course, because it's not just like, hey, be happy, get glad, But the goal is to lift you up. We want you to feel togetherness and community and accepted, So that's the feedback I've gotten. That's the goal.
Yeah, I've always heard the saying that they were kind of expecting the opposite, and then they ended up leaving feeling happy and not mourning or down on themselves in any way. It was very like she said, hopeful, and like we can make a change. We can open the door on this topic and actually significantly change the way the society views this stuff, because it has such a bad stigma to it, and it's just not true and not fair.
Yeah.
And so it's been, the feedback that I've gotten to has been the same, that, I feel like we can really do something and make a real change here.
Awesome. Have you seen your audience grow over the last few years?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have. We always have a good turnout.
That's
We're always
awesome.
stressed about it. Every day it's the drama.
Understood.
Who's going to make it? Who's
Yeah.
coming? But they always do turn up. Yeah, we've had great turnouts.
A few times we've had to find chairs to
That's
give people
awesome.
seats because there's been too many, or standing room,
Yeah, I love when that happens. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I'm curious. So, the submissions that you get, is that something that you find it's folks doing that as a cathartic thing where they're actually telling their story?
I haven't found that. And I believe the guidelines do suggest that you're not to do that.
Oh,
maybe.
okay.
I could be wrong on that one. Could be wrong. Got to read the guidelines because I've never read in a play. I'm also not one of the people who chooses the plays.
Okay.
But she does have she works with Kelly. Kelly is she. She works with the AFSP. And that's the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Awesome.
And so they give her information on how to communicate these stories safely. And yeah, I know absolutely, without a doubt, and even talking to the writers, I know it's cathartic. It has to be. But I'm not sure about their personal stories.
I think, unfortunately, in this day and age, we see so much of that even if you're not directly affected, someone or you've been involved in some capacity. And it's just so tragic.
Right. They say that for every suicide, there's roughly 150 people impacted by it.
Wow.
And so when you do the math on that, it's essentially everybody.
Yeah.
Has somebody, a friend of a friend, or
Right.
a family member, it's very prevalent and it's very there.
I feel like, I didn't do this study. I know people did this. It's an official number. But I feel like that's what they say initially. But it's got to be more over time because, I've made new friends over the years after my dad and told the story, and I know they've been affected, and it keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
mental health is such a huge issue in our society today.
yeah, it's our entire health that's neglected. You
Yeah,
know, it's like
for
the
sure.
exact same as physical or same importance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a main part of our, sorry to like switch the topic of our coaching style though.
That's awesome. I'm glad you did.
So we went, when we started, I was talking to Chris and I was saying, you know, like we need to really get a coaching philosophy down and kind of what we are here to do and what we want to do. And so we were talking about some of the things that we experienced and went through as players within North Texas. And so we decided that there was a big part of the game that wasn't being taught, and it was the mental side of it. And so there's so many things about the game that you can take and put it, you know, to practice in your real life. And so we do, and like this is on a smaller scale, but you know, every soccer player at one point or another is going to take a ball straight to the stomach. And so when those girls are 6, everything stops. We make sure they're okay. And then I like to go through and explain to them what's happening to their body. And so I just tell them, like, that's really scary. And, like, what are you feeling right now? And they're like, you know, they're crying. And I'm like, in order for our body to heal, we have to breathe. So we start breathing together. And then after they're finally calm, I will then tell them, okay, this is what happened. The ball hit you in the stomach and the air left your body.
That's
and
really scary.
That's what's so scary. You couldn't breathe, and that's scary. And just validating the fact that they were scared because they're not hurt.
Yeah.
Unless that ball is coming from like a professional soccer player's shot.
David Beckham.
They're not hurt.
Not.
And
But they're not okay. They are, but they are not. Like the reason we do what sparked that approach is I will never forget. I was 15 years old. And I've been hit in the gut over and over with the soccer ball. And, you know, don't show pain and suck it up and don't dwell on it and just keep going. You don't feel it. You're tough. So when I was 15 one time, I just lost it. And I was so confused why it hit me. And I just cried so hard. I just completely lost control of keeping it in. And I realized it's because of every single time since I was a kid of just holding it, just holding that feeling and the fear and the chaos and all of that, you know? So then that's how it kind of opened that up for us with the girls.
Well, you're giving these girls a foundation to speak up for themselves,
right,
and look after their mental health, whether they go into soccer as teenagers or professionals or whatever. This is a great foundation for them. So that's amazing.
We actually had last summer or fall, we had a player who was really struggling. She was so naturally talented. It was so hard to watch her not want to play soccer anymore. But that's eventually what happened. And I talked to her mom, I talked her through it, and I just told her, you know what, at the end of the day, it's about this little girl. And we are here for her no matter what that looks like. And so if you want, just bring her out to a practice, because she was really ashamed of it. She was really like heartbroken, didn't want to disappoint us. And that was for us, I think, the hardest part, not necessarily losing this like incredible center midfielder. It was more of the fact that she felt like she was letting us down.
The second it gets switched, that's when we need to check ourselves.
Right.
You know, when it's about losing our center mid, that is a child, and it's about winning. It's
Go touch the corner flag, come back.
Yeah, that's what we do when we coach. We'll say, if one of us gets a little worked up, we'll tell her, go touch the corner flag.
Yeah,
you need a second.
Because emotions come into play big time. There's times you don't even realize that you want to win so badly, and it's a group of 8-year-olds. And so it just takes your sister looking at you and saying, hey, go touch a corner flag and come back, to realize, oh, I'm out of my body. I'm out of who I am. I'm not coaching with like alignment to my values or my coaching philosophy. So I'm going to go and take a lap. I'm going to go and touch that flag, get my brain right, come back and coach the way that I know how to.
Because I had the same defiance as Katie in high school with my coach. He cared a lot. And it made me just be like, I'm chasing a ball. Why are you upset? And I just completely shut down and I quit. I quit at 15.
Wow.
And I sent him an email and I was like, you took my passion for soccer. I am 15 and I know everything and you're responsible, you know, and I sent it. I can't find it. I wish I could, because he's still
coaching, still in the game.
Still the big dog.
Definitely, you're the kind of gals I would want coaching my young daughter. Where could parents find you guys if they want to sign up for the next season?
So they can go to, fcdallas.com and go to the youth tab. We're under the coaches there. They can find us on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we don't really advertise the soccer side of it on
Okay.
Instagram so much. I do have an Instagram where I write about just processing, because grief isn't linear. So things
Absolutely.
come up, and, we have started coaching, and that was something. Soccer was us and our dad all the time. He took us to our practices.
Cool.
He took us to our games. So the first time going to these fields again and not being a player and not turning around and seeing his face was
Tough.
emotional.
Yeah.
And so,
Made me dizzy.
Yeah.
I definitely got sick a few times. The
yeah,
anxiety
like
was,
physically.
was very
yeah.
intense.
Yeah. And so I write on Instagram. It's called Trauma and Tantrums. And it was originally geared towards just processing my grief in general. And then it kind of moved into the soccer side of it and just how I handle moving forward with having this, event that happened in my life.
In terms of being on our team or coming to our practices,
Yeah.
like Katie said in the beginning, she already said it, the FC Dallas website, you can find
Perfect.
us
Okay.
there.
Our phone number and our email addresses are on there, so you just
Awesome.
reach out directly.
Katie's your best bet.
Okay.
Yes. Me, not Chris.
I'm really lucky. Yeah, she does a lot of the admin.
Our
we can
dynamic
say.
works for us. Yeah,
Yeah, and I
I
do
like
the
to call it.
confrontation.
Yeah, I like to call it. I do all the admin side and the schmoozing. Like, I get parents to come and play, and I talk to them. I do the most of the communicating when it comes to that.
And
then
I work out conflict.
Yeah, anytime. But I'm also a perpetual people pleaser. So whenever there is a sticky situation, I just call my little sis, and she comes in and helps me
Perfect.
out.
Yep.
Well, what an amazing tribute to your dad.
Thank
so,
you.
so cool.
Thank you
and
very
so the
much.
show is Friday.
Yes, it's Friday at 8 p.m. at the Bathhouse Cultural Center in Dallas. And it will be Saturday at 8 p.m. And then the following weekend, Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m.
Awesome.
And there's a 2 p.m. On the last day. On the
And
12th.
where can they find information about tickets and more about your cause?
They can find information at A Light in Dark Places on Instagram. And
Awesome.
also the website is alightInDarkPlaces.org.
And we'll post the links in
Yeah,
whenever we
for
do.
sure.
Yeah,
Ladies, thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining
too.
us today. It was so fun.
absolutely.
Rick, what's going on in your world?
More same always.
More
We'll
of
be
the
back
same?
on Friday, fired up Friday with
Awesome.
more ridiculousness, and then Missy will be here at 11 to do her thing, and it's just selling season is firing up.
It is. It is
So-
the real estate selling season. So for me, I am heavy into real estate and heavy into coaching right now. So if folks did not make their first quarter goals, I'm offering strategy sessions. And they can schedule those at michelleozemi.com and walk away with 2 action steps.
Right
so let's get that going. If you need a little help to boost your goals for the year. And we'll be back next week with Lori Barber and her marketing specialties. So,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.